proudest day, and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the Rally Podcast, the 2025 season. I suppose before we start, a very dark weekend for rallying last weekend. We want to pass on our deepest condolences to Di Roberts' family. You know what? There's nothing really we can say other than that. Then, and also, all injured in Cavan. Hope they all have a very speedy recovery. Just sometimes, Connor, how cruel the sport can be.
Look, it's a sport we love. It's a sport that offers tremendous highs and excitement, and when it bites, it bites. And unfortunately, we had a weekend of that.
That's for sure. Yeah. So, anyway, as I say, just deepest condolences and best wishes to all the others involved in speedy recovery. In this week's episode, we'll look back at the Maiden City Rally and also the Cavan Rally as well too. And I got a chance to catch up with the winners from Maiden City. It was Ryan Caldwell and Stephen O'Brien. And also then from the Cavan Rally, sensation of the rally, I suppose, was Cavan Eves and Chris Melly, So starting with the Maiden City, and they done 3 stages, done 2 of them twice and the other one 3 times. A fantastic wee event. Everybody loved the stages, mixed conditions after all the good weather we've had these last 3 or 4 weeks. The rain come, the rain went, and the rain come again, the rain went away again. It was just a real mixed bag, and it was dry, wet, and everything in between.
That was it, and then greasy roads on top of that as well, just to add to the trickiness for everyone. But like some great competition out there, and really there's a heck of a fight at the front end. Yeah,
there was one stage, I think it was stage 5, and I think the top 5 or maybe top 6 cars, 1.1 seconds. We talk about how competitive Irish rallying is. Like, this is not even just Tarmac Championship level, not even National Championship level. Yeah. This is Northern Ireland Championship level, I spoke to Ryan and Stephen. This was no soft one. Like, they had to fight for it, and by God, it was a pleasure to watch it. To get the drivers, driving to the maximum.
Like the level of competition we have now is just incredible, and we do every week. We harp on and we talk about how close it is and how tight it is, but it really is. Like every rally we're getting to, and we're looking at clubman level here, as you say. Every rally we're getting to, it's just ridiculous. The speeds, the ability, the competition. It really is. It's tremendous, and as spectators, it's incredible to be able to get the opportunity to watch that.
That's for sure. And we're treated to, absolutely top drawer cars as well. The new Skoda, the new Fiestas. It's such a purple patch.
Yeah, I know it is. It's fantastic opportunities, and would just encourage anybody. Don't just go out for the Tarmac Championship rounds or the national rounds. Get out to the smaller venues because they're just as competitive in their own way.
That's for sure, because the guy, and that's not even just the top 10 cars. It's right through, the quality of cars, the amount of polos that was in the Maiden City, it was unbelievable. It was like, oh my God, another polo, we love the polos, but there's no point in us telling you all about it. Like, as I caught up with Ryan and Stephen, Ryan's first one in the Tarmac, 22 years of age. This kid's going far.
Yeah, look, and that was a matter of time for that to happen. You could see it coming. Every rally he was competing in the last 2 years, just getting better and better and improving and bringing in the fight. And that was coming, and it came. And fair play to him.
Yeah, because he's already Irish Forestry Championship. We know his prowess in the gravel, and it's just nice to see it all coming together in the tar. So let's hear from the two boys. So, Ryan, I suppose before we start, the man you had the great race with, Gary Jennings, had unfortunately went off on Sunday, and you want to extend your well wishes to him before we start?
Yeah, he had a bit of bad luck on the Sunday, so hopefully all's okay and all the rest of them's all okay too.
Mm-hmm. And Stephen, we know what the sport can be like and all too, and I'm sure you want to sort of say, extend on your best wishes as well too.
Yeah, for sure. And it was a difficult weekend, and I suppose I want to maybe both Ryan and myself express condolences to the Roberts family, and I hope James and them have a good a recovery and come round again.
That's for sure. And I suppose then, getting back to the Maiden City on Saturday, like what a battle that was. Like there was some of the stages. I think there was one. Was it stage 6 or no, stage 5? I think there was 5 of you all within like 1.1 or 1.2 seconds. Like that's frantic racing, Ryan.
Yeah, it was a tight race, so it was. We didn't get it handy at all.
No.
We didn't. Every time we looked, they were on us the whole time.
And the way the conditions were on Saturday, there was no right tyre. Like it was just a lottery. You might have been on the right tyre for like half a stage, never mind a full stage.
No, in the middle loop, like the rain wouldn't come off the window quick enough. The wipers weren't going quick enough, and then go back out to the last loop, and it was blowing dry on a wet tyre. So we just there was no right tyre at all.
Yeah, and like this year has been about building the pace and getting comfortable with the Skoda. Do you feel now you're in a better place and good confidence now after that?
Yeah, we're a lot of learning done. So was his last 3 rallies. That's our 3rd rally in the car. So it was good to get the one too. Supposedly it's close to our home as well. So it was definitely good to get the one on it, and it builds our confidence a bit more. And a lot of learning. Even it was a wet weekend, it was good to get it. So at least we know now what we can do on the rain.
For sure. And like Stephen, you've been beside this man. You've watched him the way he's been developing. He hasn't done nothing silly. He's just taken his time and built the pace. It could have been very easy to go out and do something rash, but it's just been very methodical and learned it well.
Yeah, to be fair, the weekend was probably some of the most difficult conditions I've ever experienced in a rally car. Between, I suppose, the rain, as he was saying there, barely getting off the windscreen, and then the surface changes were quite aggressive at times. You would come where the road was kind of only a little bit damp, and then the next thing you had really, really shiny tar. And he was patient and pretty calm about the whole thing. And I would say another thing he did, what I was very impressed with as well, is he didn't get stressed out when they were nipping a bit of time off him. He was just right. I'll try and stay with them here, and then picking his moments to attack, which is very impressive for someone at 22.
Yeah, for sure. And we must say it to the club. They put on a great rally there at the weekend as well too. You're all rigged in the dry and probably perfect conditions, and then the weather threw everything at the weekend. But they kept the show running and kept it pretty much on time as well.
Yeah, I think it ran. Pretty much bang on. Yeah, and I think just looking there, I think at like 89% finishing rate, which is crazy in that condition. So. Everyone probably got back out again, Rally 2, that needed it as well, and that's good as well, that people got the mileage. Fair play to the club. Yeah,
and Ryan, the way they mixed it up a wee bit as well too, it wasn't just like 3 stages done twice. The fact you just got doing the big one an extra time as well, and everybody just was raving about that last stage up over the mountain.
Yeah, it was a good stage. Hey, we really enjoyed that stage. Someone just clicked for me on that stage. Hey, so no, it was definitely good. We definitely enjoyed that particular, the big wood, I think it was called. So no, it was a very, very enjoyable stage because you think you had everything in it. It was fast, and then you had technical stuff in it as well, and a bit of shiny stuff in it. And, no, it was definitely very, very good. All stages was very good. The other ones was just a little bit slippy. You just had to drive with your head on them. You could have made a mistake very handy, but.
Yeah, and you could almost probably see your house from the big wood stage.
Well, you can see the 1 miles away in the distance. So I actually was never on that road before, so it wasn't. It's just a way out of the road. It's not a place we would be. But no, it was definitely a very, very good stage.
Yeah, and that was again we're probably going to say a lot of ones were using it as a Donegal build-up. So you had a really strong entry there as well too.
Yeah, there was a very strong entry, so it was good to get the good experience too before Donegal for Donegal ourselves as well.
Because it wasn't a soft one as you said earlier. You were competing against guys that could go and compete at the top level in the Tarmac Championship. So that you have to be very happy with that pace.
Yeah, no, we had Gary Jennings on our heels the whole time, and then we had David Kelly as well, and Michael Boyle was putting in some good times.
Yeah.
So and then you had Desi Henry as well. So every one of them was at it.
And it was amazing too that that last loop. you know, you were out in wets, and the majority of the field was out in wets, but I think Desi Henry was out on a slick tyre. And over the 3 stages, there was no difference on the tyre. Like, and you'd have thought, as you say, it was drying up, but it wasn't a huge advantage being on a slick either.
No, in fairness, the Pirelli wet, it worked into the dry. Hey, I didn't actually think it would have worked as well. There's a little bit of movement, but back to the drifting thing, we made it work.
And Stephen, like, he has that natural knack behind the wheel. You know, it's not something that you can never probably learn. It just has the natural feel for the way a car is going to move.
Yeah, especially there when he says about the drifting, it probably did come into effect. I said to him at the start of the last 2 stages, we're on the wrong tyre here. We're just going to have to live with it. It's going to move about a bit more on you, but once you figure it out, I'll give you a couple of corners, and then it's flat out from there. And when you're sliding across the road in 5th gear, and he's pretty calm beside you, it's a good feeling, and it's a nice feeling knowing you're not losing a pile of time either.
Yeah. Because he has the confidence the car will grip and it'll do what he wants it to do.
Yeah, like we made some tweaks just before the last stage to try and get the car to stop, I suppose, rolling so much, because the wet tyre was moving quite a bit, and then I think the first braking point was a crest into a 3 left, and once we turned in, I thought, yeah, the car's pretty stable, and you could feel it in his body language. No, this is okay here. We'll be fine.
Yeah, and you can feel that through basically the seat of your pants there.
Yeah. Like once he braked and turned in, the dashboard stayed pretty level, so it didn't roll as much as the first one. So I was like, yeah, the changes have worked here, and this will be fine. I was pretty. I know it sounds a bit maybe brave to say that you think, now we're going to win it now, but I kind of knew then. I was like, no, we'll be all right. We'll get through this.
And you know, you've sat in a variety of different cars, and you know this is the latest spec Skoda. You know, you've sat in with Patrick in the older car. Like, everybody seems to be raving about these Skodas. Is there just something? Is it just lots of wee things that's better?
I think it's a massive. I suppose they evolve it each time, but I got a run with Callum just before Donegal last year, and I got out of it, and he said, "What did you think?" And it probably wasn't set up the way it needed to be, but could tell straight away what it needed, what you would do to get it where you wanted it, and he was pretty much of the same opinion. And it's very good feedback, and especially for Ryan there that doesn't maybe have as much experience. He was able to say, it's doing this, it's doing that, and small changes work, and you can feel it working. Whereas maybe in the older car, you would chase the setup for a little longer. And I think that's maybe why it took people so long to see it as a tarmac car. I think Patrick probably proved that in Galway, but it took him a day to get it there. And then Eddie Doherty obviously is going all right in the Evo one as well. But I do think that car there is easier to set up and get where you need it to be. And you see that with Michael and Callum, and probably Deck and Boyle as well. It's going all right as well.
That's for sure, yeah. And like Ryan, like you got out of that car on the Saturday afternoon, getting off the last stage, and you were just beaming. Like the car just feels part of you now at this stage.
Yeah, it gives me such a good feeling in the car. Hey, the previous car, I wouldn't have that much experience of setting up cars, obviously in the rallying career, but that car there gives me a far better feeling for everything, and it gives me more confidence in driving it. So now we're really, really happy with the car and the setup.
Yeah, and there was 2 men that I stood and chatted to, you know, waiting for you going into the stage, and I think they nearly lived every corner with it. It was your 2 dads. Like, you know, it was probably more difficult on them, you know, waiting on you coming out of the stage than it was for you actually competing.
Yeah, he told me, he says I was never as nervous. Me and Stevie was just sitting there at the stage like as calm as ever. We weren't really that nervous. Hey, we were just chatting away when we went and done the stage. He came off on the stage as well. Stevie, do you think we've got it? And he says, well, no, no. So we went up the stop car, and Gary waited on us, and then we knew we got it, and went down, and we knew the nerves was kicking in with him.
Yeah, I like Stephen. Like, your dad's been through this now a few times with yourself and Patrick, but like he was still like a cat in a hot tin roof. Like it was very important for for him for used to one, but also for the R317 as well.
Yeah, I suppose I'd say we're aging them badly at this point. But weirdly, it's even Ryan was saying it after the rally. You know, when you go in, just having to go flat out, it's a bit easier than managing one. But for sure, for Dad as well, and for the company, and for all involved, getting the tarmac one, I think that's the first tarmac one, is quite nice, because you just don't want to be known as maybe the guys that can win in gravel. But yeah, we put a lot of work in the setup. We put a lot of work in the setup on the off season. dampers and different things, and it's really, really nice when it pays off.
Yeah, because we don't see that, standing in the ditches. We don't see all that graft and all that effort that's going in, because it's not just a matter of turning up on the Saturday morning. There's a lot of work goes on.
No, I would say people would laugh if they saw what you're at, because Dad's flat out there, and then even over Christmas there, I had Ryan up here and I have a simulator in the house, and teaching them bits about differentials and what it does, because maybe it's easier to do that. You're not burning through mileage on the car, and he can understand different things, and we're looking at data and working out breaking points. And even with Patrick and Stada and some other people, you can compare it back and forth. And a lot of work goes on, and as you said earlier, there's absolutely no soft one in Ireland anymore, no matter if it's on tarmac or gravel.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ryan, that because there's no soft one, it pushes you on. It makes you have to be better, and you have to go to that effort, because if you're not doing it, you're nowhere.
No, hey, you have to put in the prep and the effort for a rally. I remember whenever we were going drifting, you just showed up at a drift event and took 20 or 30 tyres with you and showed up and you drove as hard as you could. But now you have to spend the week before prepping, and the effort goes into a rally, and then you have the Cavan there puts a lot of effort in behind us, and Stephen puts a lot of effort in as well. So if I'm not putting it in and them boys putting it in, it's not very fair. So if we put it in together, it makes it work as a team, and the results like that pay off, and so it does.
And do you feel that you're improving as a driver?
Oh yes, improving every day you go out there. You feel like you're getting more uncomfortable in the car, and just everything in general, everything's just working better for us. So it is.
Yeah, and Stephen, I suppose we said that this was the kind of the prep work towards Donegal. The prep work for the car starts basically as soon as that rally finished on Saturday. Does that car basically get stripped down and rebuilt again now before Donegal?
That's Kevin's job. I do believe he was out the list yesterday, and then my prep work probably started there. I think it did start yesterday. I started the prep for Donegal, so it's a lot of work, to be fair. But as Ryan says, when it's good, it's good, I suppose. But
yeah. Because whenever you're getting the rewards for it, if never you can see the work being put in as paying dividends, it makes it easier to do that work as well.
Yeah, for sure. And even there, the gravel crew at the weekend, they put a really big. Stephen O'Hanlon actually does the gravel notes for us, who we raced against and sat with Ryan, but they did a phenomenal job, absolutely phenomenal job. There was one bit of the road he told us, if you come over a crest and it's not raining, left hand side of the road will be dry for braking down in the chicane. You're trusting that guy coming over that crest that road's dry. There's a dry line, and there was confidence it fills you with that everybody's doing their job absolutely bang on. It's a whole team effort, and then it pays off wonderfully for everyone.
Yeah, I suppose even things like that, right, just makes your job so much easier that you're not even having to think about it. You just know that it's been done, and it's done to a very high level.
Yeah, that's it. My father and Stevie went out on the morning of the rally, and they done the gravel crew, and they definitely done a very, very good job. That's only my second time having gravel crew, so it's learning too for me. But no, it's a very, very good job. Hey, so it is. It makes it a whole lot easier for myself and Stevie.
Yeah, because the way the weather conditions were, whenever you were doing your recce, it was dusty. We had a dry recce, so we did. Yeah. We didn't have a wet recce, and then it was up to them guys to make a call. So, but they done a very, very good job, in fairness to them. That's for sure. Yeah, because there was no shiny tires, Stephen, to put in your notes. That they had to find that for you and put it in a way that you were going to be able to read as well.
Yeah, because that's in tarmac rallying, I suppose that's the big thing with the gravel crew. Sometimes you're getting a lot of data, and then you're coming at speed, picking out what it is you need to say, because you're trying to stay slightly ahead of them on the stage, but you're also trying to view the road and see what actual piece of data I need to give them here, and hoping you're giving them the right piece of data, because at times it's maybe not so simple. When you're fifth or sixth gear, or you hear him maybe breathing a bit heavy, and you think he's on the limit here, or he's more speed than he thought. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice when it works, and it's nice when everybody works together. And I suppose for Ryan, it's trusting that the gravel crew are doing as good a job as what me and him have seen in the recce. And yeah, I think there was one part I was probably really happy, and it's maybe not happy for David and Kelly and Michael Boyle, because they had an overshoot on it. But on the recce where they had that overshoot, we seen something on the road and we discussed it a couple of times, and then we put something in our note, and like that one corner probably could have won us the rally because we didn't have that overshoot, whereas the two boys that were chasing us did, you know. And, I was quite pleased that that even Ryan had spotted initially, so that's him learning as well, and he's reading the road better now on recce's, because without you don't have that in a gravel rally, so it's difficult to learn if you don't have the experience.
And that's now, you know, you've done the Tour of the Sperrins, you've done you know, Maiden City. Like, it has to be a lot said for the way the Northern Ireland Championship is going about. You know, the clubs in the north, they're putting on fantastic events. You know, they used to be maybe a few years ago with like, it would have been maybe only one closed road event, and a lot of them would have been track based events. You know, but these road events now are really up in the game, and they are as good as anywhere.
Yeah, no, they're very, very good at the moment. So, Tour of Sperrins is a very good event too. Very well run. So it was a lot of great stages, and then Maiden City too, very good stages as well. So no, we really, really enjoyed them. Hey, so it is.
Yeah, that's for sure. That I could you know, Stephen. It's like whenever you have good stages north and good stages south, it's pushing everybody, it's raising everybody's level, and it means that, you know, you can go down and do a national round, or guys can come from the south up to do these northern events, and you know, as we said earlier, there's no soft and easy ones.
No, like I'd say we're truly spoiled in this country, and we probably don't realise it. Maybe how you know, like you can go to as far north as where Malin Head or whatever, or you could go up Torhead there, and the stages are unbelievable. You can go as far as Bantry, and unbelievable stages there of completely different, I suppose, dimension to it. It could be bumpy, smooth, fast, wide, narrow. So you get a brave education rallying in Tarmac and Ireland, so you do. And even like Walls Gap, for example, for Ryan, like, you know, just the racing line up it and learning that the car can slide that much and thing, and you think you have a good run, and then Callum picks 24 out easy. He's not a laugh, like, you know. So, then he says, like, you know where it is? I say maybe 10 or 15, but the other 9's on you after that. So.
But you know, it's only was it 2019? Craig Breen done that to all those guys, but they studied it and watched it and figured it out, you know, and they've pushed on too. Like, and as you said at the start, Ryan's still only 22. He has all that learning ahead of him yet.
Aye, for sure. Like, and he's going about it the right way as well, and doing all the necessary work. And that's the challenge as well. And that, you know, it's like I wouldn't see that as a bad thing. Like, obviously getting clean on the stage is never nice, but I'd see that as a challenge now. Like, if you're back next year, saying like, if you just, you know, you went 10 quicker each time, and then we'll go another 10, and then you'd be 14, and go another 10, and you'd be 4, and then that's you're in the dogfight then. And
yes,
at the weekend there, I said to Ryan, you need to be on the pace from the start, because then you can sort of work your pace the whole rally. Whereas if you're behind from the start, you're chasing your tail, and sometimes it gets away from you, or you have to start taking unnecessary risks. So it's all learning. He's doing it the right way.
Because like, Ryan, you have to be on it from the very first corner of the first stage, because, you know, if you give, you know, Gary Jennings or any of those guys 7 or 8 seconds, like, it's, you know, it's nearly impossible to get it back unless they have some kind of wee slip through today.
Yeah, it's like it's a race from the get go, isn't it? If you don't get woke up in the morning, you just be left behind, and that's just it. We've been seeing that from the bushwhacker last year. We were sleeping in the morning time, and we get left behind. But it left the rest of the day very hard for us. But we learn from our mistakes, isn't that right?
That's for sure. That's for sure. So thanks there to the two boys, and then Cavan. Then the Sunday, like, double header. It was like a 2-day rally, but just in 2 different parts of the country. Again, the mixed conditions kept going. And it was like, there was some horrendous showers on Sunday. There was even hailstones at one stage corner. It was, but again, you know, the quality of the field, the quality of the competition. It just, you know, where do we even start with this?
I know, and it's very hard to say without constantly repeating ourselves. But like, the level is incredible, and again, you know, it was a personal grudge match between two brothers.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, and you know, the high end, they back to 1 in ways again too. Josh and Andy, have to say that, you know, the display was dominant, really. You know, now great to see Kevin Eves stepping up to the plate, set a fastest time. You know, almost pipped Sam to he wasn't second going into the last stage.
Yeah, look, a blinder by Kevin, like genuinely a blinder, and like to see him finishing ahead of a couple of Skodas as well, considering we know how well suited the Skodas are to Irish Tar. I thought Kevin had an incredible run out, he really, really did, and again, put that fight up to Sam.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, and yeah, at the very end, Josh, yeah, delighted with the 1-0, but Sam pipped him to the power stage points as well too. And as you say, the grudge match between the two brothers. So, and it was probably like and the overall thing, it was probably a higher kudos to Josh. But I'm saying he was still disappointed he didn't get the power stage point.
I would say he is, but again, we've seen Josh, not struggling's probably the wrong word, but not just as happy in a rally car the last few outings. So to see him back, at full strength again in the Hyundai really did suit him, and he overcame the tricky conditions and had a very dominant display.
Yeah, and like we've said it before, his natural driving style, it suits that mixed conditions. He just seems to revel in them there. Like the rain or the dampness doesn't seem to faze him at all. He just seems to just nearly brings him to the next level.
Yeah, look, his mastery of those conditions, his car control, it's always been incredible. Like it's very rare you see Josh putting a foot wrong, and again, especially in those conditions, he just revels in it.
That's for sure, yeah. And then, I got the chance to catch up with Kevin Eves and Chris Melly. They've made the changeover from the Corolla now to the Rally 2 Fiesta. And they haven't done that many events, and every event they've been just taking small steps forward. But the weekend there on Sunday, they took a massive step forward. And, they're going to explain, it was no big massive step, but it was just a lot of wee things. And it's very interesting just to hear, what's involved. Just taking that and being methodical about it and working through everything. That we love those kind of stories.
Yeah, look, anything that gives us a bit more detail and a bit more behind the scenes, and it just adds that extra dimension to what you've watched on the stages, to be able to hear what actually happened, in the car and outside of the car, and how the guys, put it all together to have such a solid result.
That's for sure. So let's hear from Kevin and Chris. Kevin, difficult weekend in Cavan. I'm sure you want to pass on your best wishes to all involved.
Oh no, hey, definitely. I suppose there was a couple of big things now, and I was texting Gary earlier, and that's when we wish them the best luck getting better and lining up. So hopefully they'll be back in action soon enough.
That's for sure. Cause Chris, it can be a very cruel sport. There's a lot of good days, but there can be some difficult days as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's at times that the Raleigh family support each other here, and the well wishes going out to the lads there.
That's for sure. But Kevin, for yourself, you've been on this Rally 2 cycle now for a while, and but the good thing has been with every event there's been progress. But yesterday I think there was a big step forward.
Yeah. I suppose we might have been questioning ourselves for a wee while, but I think there was a couple of things. I suppose we definitely made a big jump at the end of Clarny, even in our own selves. Some of the things we were doing and some of the setup stuff, and even down to, like, I suppose leading into this, Ryan would have had a lot of knowledge on the cars, and then even we would have plugged into Niall McShea days, and even then lately I would have plugged into John Armstrong, even getting even truthful, like getting a range of settings and messing with diff settings, and then even actually with John, even like just it's a different set of notes built for them cars and stuff like that, and a different kind of it's just all very, very. I probably didn't realize how different it was compared to the Corolla, So I suppose we plugged in, and I think we just kind of come out of Clarny very, very happy, and then it kind of left us with a solid base. We done a very good recce and put in a bit of work to it, and I think I knew the car was right. I wasn't nervous in the first 3 or 4 corners. I knew what the car was going to do. I knew it was going to stop, but I probably was still surprised at the same time. Like, we came into the first stage and I knew we cut clean through it and we weren't too bad, but I didn't probably think we were going to come out, a couple of seconds off Josh and in second, to be fair. So it was a good jump, to be honest. We're happy.
And you could tell, this is what amazes me. You, like a rally driver, and even the co-driver as well, can tell within the first 2 or 3 corners of a stage if the car's right. Like, it just feels good right away.
It's probably kind of a comfort thing, I suppose. That's probably what I'd say that's what probably struggled me. I know even in the Corolla, I'd probably be a wee bit funny if I don't feel it. I wouldn't probably try and push it, or I know you would see some boys that would try and overdrive out through it if it's not working, they nearly force it, where I just feel like when it's right, it works for me, and when it's wrong, I just can't make it work, I suppose I don't have that bandwidth. You would see some of them drivers that can nearly go from one car to the other and it doesn't affect them, I probably have to get the logical stuff clicking in my head that it's doing what I want it to do, that kind of a way. So it's all about a crack anyway.
And Chris, the same sort of question to yourself. Can you feel the vibe from him if it's clicking in them first couple of corners?
To be honest, my comments at the end of the first stage before we seen the times wasn't that great. I think, I felt there was a lot of reward there for didn't feel great on the stage, but I think the pre-event work and the coming out of Killarney with the right setup, I think made the big step forward here. But you can find the flow. Like if it doesn't flow, you're buggers from the first couple of corners. But no, you could feel it flowing all right, and it worked okay for us.
Yeah. And those changeable conditions, the way it was like wet and dry and all that, like do you whenever you're making your notes, are you having to kind of almost be thinking ahead if this is really wet, I need to mark this, or if it's dry, how do you approach that, or do you just have to try and read the road that's in front of you?
I think we were probably lucky enough. I suppose we were wrecking the Saturday before it was wet as well, so I suppose you're picking your shiny braking points, but no, I don't think too bad. And I actually think them Rally 2 cars they're actually probably I wouldn't go so far as to say easier, but the tires, like I feel like in a modified car, them changeable conditions, you would win massively or lose massively. Like we kind of went on like a soft slick kind of in the first loop, and then we put a couple of cuts in it the second loop and kept the same on for the third loop. But I feel like the same tyre worked in the dry and worked in the wet, where I feel like in the modified car, if you picked a tyre worked in the wet and the road went dry, you'd just flitter it, like it'd be gone, from underneath you. So I feel like we stayed on the safe side of it on the first loop. A lot of them boys went out in sevens and you seen them panicking on Duffy's trying to carry two spares and swap and stuff like that, where we were on a soft slick. And we were just happy enough. We kind of chipped away at it all day. Then we didn't panic to change away from it. So, no, I think it was grand. It wasn't too bad now.
Yeah, and like Chris, you're well settled into the car now. Do you feel confident? If you needed to make a change between the stages and that, now that you'd be happier to do that now, maybe now that you found the sweet spot, maybe you don't really touch it nearly almost.
I think as Cavan said, when you get to know the car. Like there's a lot more to come out of the car, and even changing wheels compared to the Corolla it's an easy thing there, But no, I think there's a lot of tweaks can be done to them, and a lot of, as you say, between stages, a lot of settings can be changed as well. So no, I think it's adaptable, to be honest.
And because there's such a range of settings, like between diffs and everything, the suspension and all that, like it is a minefield, and probably with the Corolla it was a lot more simple, the variations you had, so that there's all these different permutations, and it's just getting that sweet spot just to hit the nail on the head.
It is, and suppose, when it comes to me, there's notes to be called and there's tyre pressures to be checked. I hear there's clicks here and there's clicks there between all these drivers, and I leave them at it, to be honest.
You leave the click at the Cavan then, do you?
Absolutely. You can click the wrong way very quick.
So you can't even blame him and Cavan if it all goes wrong.
Yeah. Well, all in my head.
But I remember chatting. It was Callum Devine saying whenever Breen come in 2019, the way he was out and changing the settings. I think it was between Mall's Gap and the next stage. And like everybody else standing around amazed at this, had never seen it before. But now it's probably normal almost now.
I think he was actually. I think it was coming out of Mall's Gap into like Ard Groom or Healy's Pass or something. He was lowering and raising the car. I think even to be truthful, the guys from the World Championships probably geared for that stuff. from what I can see, you can actually get little spacers, you know, that if you jack the car up, you can like clip them on round. You can actually raise or lower the car 10 mil. I don't actually think it's that difficult, you know. It's not out with the double spanners and tape or nothing, you know, that kind of way. So,
Yes.
so no, it seems to be. I think that is the fine art, though. That's what I probably notice in the Rally 2 car. There's probably a lot more perfection involved in it, you know, and getting. I feel like the other cars, they're all that wee bit wilder and messier. There's probably a risk will do you a favour, you know, where I feel like everything has to be perfect in the Rally 2 car to make the time come, you know, that kind of a way. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of them boys putting a lot of effort in and know what they're at, kind of a thing.
Aye, because like you know you have a Fiesta, you have the Hyundai, the two evolutions of the Hyundai, you know the Polos, the Skodas, and like they're all so evenly matched, you know, and you know you need to be just so comfortable in the car to get the best out of it because every other car they're all like, there's no major advantage in any car.
No, not from what I can see. Hey, they're all very, very similar now. Like you would see one car seems to have a wee bit like even I would have thought I would have seen like say Matt Edwards had a couple in cars up, and I don't know if it's me or the RPM, but I feel like even I was comparing my launch and his launch, you know, and he would get maybe a car length on you in the launch, but then when you would chat to everybody, I'd say the Fiesta might have a bit of a better chassis. Say for like say yesterday, it's a bit choppier and bumpier. It probably covers ground and brakes a wee bit better. So there's probably minor advantages, but it's probably near even going back to the same as the Corolla, the Starlet, the Escort. You know, everything has its own wee niche. You know, you kind of have to make it where the shine bright. You know, so it's interesting. I know it keeps the race hot. I know.
Aye, and are you enjoying this whole experience of you know finding out how all these things work? Does that appeal to your sort of engineering nature?
It how would I say it frustrates me, but it's in a kind of a good way. I enjoy. There is a good thing to kind of try and figure it out. It kind of itches inside of your brain a wee bit, and I'll not lie. There's times when you think you're getting there, and you're like questioning it, and you're still a right bit off the time, and you're kind of wondering, "Geez, am I built to steer one of these things, or what's the story?" But then it's nearly when you go back to Chris there, like it is so strange. It's like then when you kind of get the setup right, and it kind of works. It felt no different than we were in Clarny, and you're 15 seconds a stage off at times, but yet you just kind of close the gap a wee bit, you know. Now I know if you go to an international round, there's probably 4 or 5 lads weren't there yesterday that are very, very quick men that would change it up a wee bit, but I think it's great for us to jump up and be in a bit of a battle. Like.
For sure, for sure. Because like you know, when you're racing along with you know Josh and Sam and Eddie and those guys, like you know, you're not going to be far off the international pace because those guys, you know, they're international winners like Sam and Josh.
Yeah. There's 2 of them sitting there. So no. No, it was great. Even the mess about sure, like me and Sam went into the last stage only like a second or 2 off each other or something like that there. So it's actually a good crack to be in them battles for, especially you know something like a second place and stuff like that. So we're more than happy to be at it. Hey, it's more than we expected to do yesterday, so we're definitely happy with it.
Aye. And like Josh Moffat still goes into that last stage looking for, you know, the power point or the power stage point as well too. So he wasn't hanging about in that stage either. And like Chris, Kevin said earlier about, you know, you've having to amend the notes and all that too. Like it has a different note system then almost from the Corolla to the Rally 2 car as well.
It's not that difference, but it's just slightly more refined, to be honest.
Right.
Probably a bit more detail. It's on the same basis, to be honest, but I think we must probably spend a wee bit more time and putting that detail in on the recce and you know refine it. Then it's just before the event and running over it in the morning and stuff. It's just refining it, to be honest. You know, and it's putting that extra layer of detail in there that assures yourselves that these corners are what they are because. You know, a 3 and a 4 Ross in the Corolla and a 3 and a 4 Ross, even the angle's the same, the speed's totally different there in the 2 different cars.
Right.
And it's just assuring yourself exactly what it is and having the commitment then and the belief that it actually can happen.
Yeah. And I suppose like the other thing, even sitting in the car, you know, like they're purpose built, you know, you're sitting so much lower than what you were in the Corolla too. Did that take a wee bit of getting used to at the start as well?
It is, yeah, there's a big black dash there, you get fond of looking at, to be honest with you. You know, when you're going down the hill, you see loads. When you're going up the hill, you see nothing but the sky. But no, it does. That definitely it was a challenge for me, to be honest. And so you have to start to work on a lot of the G forces of the car to figure out where you actually are. But no, but once you get onto it, again, there's a wee bit of confidence, and it helps the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, that's for sure. And like Kevin, like that, as Chris said there, the speeds you can go around, those kind of like medium fast speed corners, like it must, you thought you were flying around them in the Corolla, and then suddenly, you're going so much faster. Like it really must mess with your brain.
It does. Like it just takes that wee bit of getting used to. Like even just, I don't know, just setting the car up for it, because you're doing it with a lot of power on. Where in the Corolla you're kind of not coasting, but you come hot into it and you come off the throttle and you kind of you don't go to you see daylight where them things you're trying to wind diffs up and kind of keep the load and keep the car pulling itself forward. So it's different. And then just trying to, like, it's as Chris says, you're refining that bit of detail that when you say like a fast four go kind of a thing, it's go for it, that kind of way. It's probably that extra layer of work just to be confident in what you're doing, kind of a thing.
And like, you mentioned as well too, like you're calling in, this expertise, and like you have Ryan running the car for you. Like you see the way he prepares cars and all, exceptional. When you've got somebody like Niall McShay or John Armstrong and these guys helping you out, like it's always good to get outside information as well too, because you could probably close yourself in and not take in this advice, but like you see it with football, you see it with every other sport. You need other people to help you. It's not just a one-man band.
You need all the data, because see what is the truth. You end up kind of making it your own ever so slightly, because like I suppose when we started with Ryan, like Ryan would set up a car savage, but Ryan would like even when you go to an Escort, me and Ryan would have very much differed in the Corolla and the Escort, in the sense that I probably always liked a bit of a softer car, but Wallaway and kind of following you. Ryan would always chat about like he wants this real precise, go-kart on the front, and I'd say, to be truthful, it's probably a bit of both being right, in the sense of I probably struggled understanding why the car needed to be so fast, but then you understand what it's capable of. And even I was softening off the car, thinking I was helping myself, but with the four-wheel drive and diffs and stuff, you're transferring weight so much, braking messes about, the car messes about. I even backed off diffs, trying to think the car would be a bit more easy to drive or maybe less aggressive, and I probably actually went to complete what I thought logically was the right way to go, was actually probably 100% the wrong thing to go, that kind of a way. So that's where even the likes of John was handy. Like even I probably sent him a couple of in-cars, and he reviewed, like, and he could nearly see in the circuit, the way if I touched anything on the side of the road, the car was shooting over and back the road, and just like preloads and diffs, getting them actually tightened back up. I was thinking that would only make the car worse, but that was the opposite thing, So you just, it's hey, I suppose, look, at the end of the day, them boys have so much knowledge and experience, like between Ray and Niall and John, all them boys, like it's only sense for somebody like me, especially at this stage. You're trying to race all these lads that are in four-wheel drive cars 8, 9, 10 years, and you're trying to do it in a short window, if you know what I mean. So it just makes sense to plug in and download.
And because we are so fortunate here because of the level of the top drivers and all that too, that that like the likes of John Armstrong can come here and he's not running away. He's not leaving everybody in his dust. Our guys is every bit as capable of matching and sometimes beating these times we've seen in West Cork or whatever. So like our pace here is as good as anywhere.
Oh, well, I think that's what breeds the speed. I suppose there's so many top level lads there now, and everybody's looking for that last nth, So it is class, like, and it seems to be a couple of new lads. Like I suppose you have Eddie slotted up in there again, and I suppose it's there's a couple of lads. It's a good mix and field. You had Keith coming back and Matt in there. It's cool now. Donegal should be interesting by the if you're to believe who's all coming. We could be car 20 by the sounds of things.
You'll be lucky, I'd say.
If you even get entries, is it? But I suppose that's something we should touch on. That there's so many rumours going around about Donegal and all, Chris. But it just shows you, that people want to come to Ireland to compete because we have such a good product.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they have the talent, they have the stages, the mixed bag of weather. You're never guaranteed that. You know, put all them things together. Yeah, I think you've all the ingredients required for a world class rally, and we have that in Ireland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's all this talk about we've heard hopefully we're going to get the World Championship here in a few years. I do think it would provide a great challenge for those top teams coming over, because it's like nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the challenges of the Irish stages, like especially them international events, them 2-day events, and Donegal with the 3-day event. The challenge they put up as competitors on man and machine. It's testing them to the nth degree there.
Yeah.
And that'll challenge the best in the world.
That's for sure. And Kevin, I suppose, when we're talking about Donegal, it's coming up now. Does the car basically now have to be taken away, kind of more or less stripped down and rebuilt as a new car again to start on the Friday morning?
Hopefully not. Okay, no, I'd say in fairness, the car probably gets stripped checked. I suppose that car was only new in December. We probably have maybe 1,000 or 1,100 stage kilometers on it. So look, it'll probably get a clutch, and maybe I think it's probably due a set of brakes. I'd say gearbox will get open, diffs will get open, but I think touch wood now we should be relatively safe. We need some sort of a fucking luck in Donegal, hey, for I don't know.
It probably needs 2 wing mirrors.
Yeah. Just give up on wing mirrors now at this stage, I think. So
it definitely seems to be a curse in them Rally 2 cars. Nearly every event there's at least one gone, if not the 2.
I just can't seem to figure the width of the car out in chicanes. I just keep flipping and rubbing bales all the fucking time, and it's just I'll be shouting in the car because it's like £300 a wing mirror. I'll be just depressed every time I do it.
So whoever's doing the stage clean up in Cavan, you just get onto eBay quick.
Oh god! So just one of those things, but.
And Chris, Donegal, it's a rally very close to your heart. It's going to be, going by the rumour mill, truly international this year.
Yeah, so to say. As Cavan said, I think we only got routed once. And I think I was counting earlier on this evening. I think this is my 13th time to try it. And even when we did finish it, we were very lucky to get it finished. So hopefully this year we can have a bit of luck on it, and to enjoy it, get the 3 days out of it, and whatever happens after that, we'll take it.
Yeah, because Kevin, the confidence has to be high now after coming out of yesterday.
Yeah, look, it's like, I don't know what way in my brain, at least it's like a milestone, if you know what I mean. You kind of get to a wee level and you're like, I suppose it kind of settles off your own head a wee bit to say, look, yeah, there it is, you're a bit of pace, because there still will be a bit more work in it and time in the car, but it's just good to kind of get to just know it's there, that kind of way. You're not still going home scratching the forehead saying, right, what do I need to change or do or figure out yourself. So no, hey, the confidence would be high to now look, I don't think we're going to go out and race to win Donegal, but I do feel like we're there and we can see, how would I say, with a bit more work and a bit more effort, you can probably see where the boys are on up the road, that kind of a way. So we'll just see what happens.
Thanks very much, Kevin and Chris. Always a pleasure chatting to the two boys. So that is another episode of the 25 season. What more can we say other than, until next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.
That's the proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.